Hello and welcome to Channel Divinity, a 5th edition actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast. I am Trent. I will be your dungeon master for this homebrew campaign, and going around the table with me we have...
I'm David and I play Cassiel De'Hart.
I'm Dean and I play Vesper Ravenwing.
I'm Gordon and I play Blank.
And Gordon, while you just finished talking, what happened last time?
Last time on Channel Divinity,
Last
an
time
auction
on
finishes
Dragon
up.
Ball Z.
We need
Previously on The Sound of Music.
we need like a news channel. Boom 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 boom.
We need like a radio scratch as you're like tuning in at the beginning from now on, just like and it like.
Anyways, what happened last time?
So last time, Channel Divinity, we had the auction finish up, and we had a couple of conversations with different people that wanted some of our items. Blank said no and hated every second of saying no. Was very nervous. He hates talking to people now after talking to Jules. David, Cassiel, was also wanting to talk to the Magic Crafters about the... Remind me what it is.
It's a book about golem making.
The book about golem making, because he recognized it. And then we are currently at the Mountainsbane manor for Vesper, right?
Yes.
Okay. For Vesper, because he recognized a key that seems similar to the one that he got from Acheta. Or at least the Achetan statue. And
Yeah, he hasn't talked to you guys about it.
He hasn't talked to us about it yet, but we saw
Well,
the
you
second
guys should
key.
know what it is, because that episode's definitely out by now.
It's out by now. But yeah, that's what happened last time.
Awesome, and we're going to pick up right there. The man in the kimono walks back in and sets down a tray of tea and 3 little teacups, and he pours tea for you. And then he says, Lord Mountainsbane will be here shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Please enjoy
Blank
the tea.
is going to reach for one of the tiny teacups and just like gently sip from it.
Go for it.
The robot is sipping the tea.
It tastes amazing.
Oh yeah, I forgot we talked about Blank and
Yeah, I can
taste.
Blank
taste.
can
Can
taste.
you sip
Yes.
though? Do you have suction functionality?
Sorry.
Can you suck?
What the heck, dude?
It's true.
Yes.
That's a good
yes.
question.
Yes, he can.
No, Blank doesn't
but-
suck.
He has a vacuum pipe
No,
up his
he
throat.
doesn't need to. He just tips it very
so
gently.
he's pouring it
Yeah,
into
he's
his
just
mouth.
pouring
Yeah,
it
I'm
into
just
his
pouring it
very
into my
gently.
mouth, and some of it spills out the corners of my mouth and starts like.
Has to like tip his head back to get it to go back into his system.
Right.
Oh
Is
no,
it-
he can swallow.
Can he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I swallowed the Rickroll that we had earlier.
Is it good tea?
It is amazing tea.
It's really
Tastes
good.
great.
It's really, really hot on my wood jaw.
Blank,
Hot.
Blank, you drank the tea?
Yes.
Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my goodness.
Shoot, I should probably roll one too because Cassiel is definitely
Go ahead and roll one.
lots of warm drinks up in Shays.
Oh, that's
This
right.
this is like
12.
home for him.
12.
7.
You'll have some major PTSD. Just drinking tea makes you have to roll wisdom saving throws.
You drink the tea, and the wisdom saving throw is for how comforted you are. It's just amazing. It just
Oh.
warms your soul. This tea is just so good.
So because I failed,
It warms your soul too much. And you take,
heartburn.
you take 1,000 fire damage. No, it just doesn't affect you as much.
Reminds me of home, and
Yeah,
I
reminds
take
you-
emotional damage.
Emotional damage. Anyways, a little while passes, and the man walks back in, and he says, Lord Mountainsbane is ready for you now. Please follow me. And he opens, it's all sliding doors here. He opens the sliding door, and he walks out.
We follow him.
He leads you through a somewhat winding hallway, and there is beautiful decorations like suits of armor and growing plants on the sides as you walk past. But your guide doesn't look in either of the ways. And
It's like a hanging garden.
No. It's just got like potted plants, potted
Oh,
bamboo,
okay.
and potted like flowers, beautiful flowers on either side. He walks you through a very beautiful section of the house and leads you up a set of stairs, and then leads you up a second set of stairs, and then leads you up to a big set of double doors.
And inside is another set of stairs.
And he knocks on the door and then opens it, and it's another set of stairs. No, he knocks on the door and says, Lord Mountainsbane, can we come in? And you just hear it, enter. And then you open the door. Dean, you should be happy. I almost made a door creaking sound right there, but now you can put one in later.
Thanks.
It's also a sliding door, so it wouldn't.
Oh, that's right. It's a sliding door.
I can do a sliding door sound too.
Yeah, so he slides the door open, and it's a double door, so it slides on both sides. And then he walks in, and you see a man sitting at a desk doing paperwork with a quill. Now that you see him from the front, he has a very stern, strict-looking face with his black hair pulled up very, very tightly into like a little knot that is like almost like the start of a ponytail, but just like a knot. All of his hair is pulled very tightly into it. And he is wearing a very formal kimono while he is writing, but one of the sleeves is pulled up so that he doesn't get ink in it as he dips it in the ink well.
Cassiel will give him a courtly bow as they approach and get to like where they'll stand.
He looks up at you and says, "What can I do for you?"
Blank watches Cassiel bow, and he's going to awkwardly try and do the same.
He just waves his hand. "There's no need for formalities. What can I do for you? I am a busy man."
I have two objects of business I would like to talk with you.
Very well. What is the first?
I would like to talk to you first about an individual who I traveled with previously who bore your name. Unfortunately, I feel I'm the bringer of bad news. Do you know a Sang Mountainsbane?
Unfortunately, I do. He was my son.
It seems like you might know this, but he has passed.
He passed away when he left our family years ago. I did not care if he died any later than that. Physically, he was cut from our family when he left the family. There is no... What did you say the name Sang?
Sang.
There is no Sang Mountainsbane any longer in any record. Only you met Sang.
Okay. Well, I would like to inform you that Sang has passed.
I do not care.
Okay. The second order of business. Vesper's like pretty shaken.
Cassiel is actually clenching his fists off to the side.
Blank is going to move behind Cassiel and Vesper. He's pretty intimidated by this guy at this point.
It's fair.
The second order of business that I would like to talk to you about would be from the auction. The key, which was purchased by your family.
Yes.
I would like to ask if there's a way I could purchase, or I don't have much money, or if there's something I can do for your family of equal value to trade for the key.
There is nothing that you can do that will have me give away this key. Your business is now concluded. Thank you very much.
I hold out the other key.
Oh, shoot. Had to roll for something real quick. His eyes widen.
And I say...
And then quickly narrow. And he glares at, "Where did you get that key?
Our business is not done, sir.
Where did you get that key?" And he stands, pushes his chair back and stands.
Please be gentlemanlike and let me explain.
He nods.
And I sit down.
Okay.
And I wait for him
There's no other chair.
So you take his chair.
No.
You go behind him. Please be gentlemanly.
I wait for him
and
to
take
sit.
the chair from him.
He sits back down.
And I'm going to tell him the story. I received this in the Temple of Acheta. It was about 2 months ago, with some sort of what seemed like divine show of power. The statue in the temple reached out her hand and produced this key.
He...
While he's sharing this story, can Cassiel wants to try to figure out with this man. Clearly, he knows what these keys are.
Yeah.
With this key, is he covetous after it, or is it just something that's really important?
You can roll an insight check.
8.
You have no idea. His face, other than the widening of eyes and then the narrowing of eyes, has not changed. He is showing nothing. When you finish your story, he puts his elbows up on the table and puts his fingers together in the pyramid of power. And he looks at you and says, I see you. Very, very interesting that you have that key?
The key that was shown before,
Mm-hmm.
what was so the key I have has antlers
Coming off of the back.
coming off of the back of it.
The key he had, that he bought, he actually reaches down the sleeve of his kimono and he pulls out the key. It is the same kind of black rusted metal, but has a heart at the top instead of antlers. Like it splits off in two ends and then curls up. So the heart is actually like empty.
I was just trying to think what the heart meant.
He holds it up and he says, so you have a key very similar to the one that I have purchased. He slips it back into his robe.
Why did you want that key?
That is for personal reasons,
I shared.
and I do not have to.
Roll a persuasion.
Yeah. Vesper's going to give him a stern-ish look, but more, not like intimidating, more like, where are your manners?
Okay, go for it.
This is persuasion.
Yeah.
13.
He doesn't react. He doesn't react at all. He just looks at you for a second and says, my reasons are my own. You shared of your own volition. I have no desire or need to share with you. With this, I believe our business is concluded. You have shown me that key. If you are not interested in selling that key to me, then you may leave. And he sits back down and starts doing paperwork again.
Thank you for your time, sir. I'm going to back out.
Goodbye. And he kind of waves, and he's just gonna follow Cassiel quickly out of the room.
I'm going to take out a small, like, figurine, which is a belonging of his son,
Mm-hmm.
and place it on his desk before I walk out.
Okay.
And I don't say another word.
All right. And then you walk out. And no one sees him burn the figurine.
Is there a...
I'm just kidding. You don't see that, Gordon. Close your mouth.
Is there a servant that comes
Yeah,
to
there's
get
a
us?
servant. The same servant that brought you there is standing outside the door. And he says, short meeting. Did you get what you wished for?
Not quite.
Hmm.
And I motion him to lead the way, I guess.
And he leads the way. He leads you.
Once we're back into the waiting room, do we go through the same way?
Yeah.
Once we're back there,
He's not taking you to the waiting room. He's taking you to the front door at this point.
okay, once we're away from the room where we met with Lord Mountainsbane,
Okay.
I'm going to ask, servant,
Yes,
did you know Sang?
I did.
I take out the remaining possessions I have, which are just like little odd possessions and like a pair of brass knuckles. And I say, is there anyone in the house who would appreciate his belongings? He has passed.
Roll a persuasion check for me.
Can I give him guidance?
Inspiration?
If you want...
No. I
if you-
have guidance the cantrip.
You can cast Guidance the cantrip, but I will say, you got to remember, it is a spell.
He will see
So
you
he will
cast
see
it.
he
you
will see-
cast
oh,
the
okay.
spell.
It's a dirty 20.
He pauses, like almost freezes in his tracks. And he turns and looks at you and says, are you trying to get me killed, sir?
Sang was a good person. I just want his loved ones to have his belongings.
And he turns and starts walking in a different direction and waves for you to follow.
I follow.
Blank and Cassiel, you follow?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna. He nervously looks between the tea and then back at his friends, and then he's gonna follow his friends.
Okay. He didn't take you back to the break room. You're like sitting in the middle of
Oh.
a hallway at this point.
Okay, I was like, if we're by the break room, he felt homey with the tea. He was gonna try and go for that.
Vesper just wants to find this guy's mom.
This guy takes you back up the stairs, actually. You had gone down to the second floor. He actually walks you back up to the third floor. And you walk past the same door as before, but this time you walk past it. And you walk further into the house. And then you open the door. Well, the guy knocks gently on a door and then says, Madam, we have some people that knew Sang. And you immediately hear a voice that says, open the door. And the door slowly opens. And as you walk in, you see a woman that is not of Asian descent. She looks more of European descent. And
So she's a Chetan.
yeah, so she's a Chetan. So if no one's picked it up, Asian descent is kind of more of a different island, and a Chetan is more of like European descent. The humans are kind of broken up into European descent, African descent, and Asian descent. So she looks a Chetan, and she looks at you and says, "Oh my goodness, you knew my son. Please come, sit down."
I give a bow to her.
She says, "There's no need. You knew my son. Please sit. Tell me, how's my son doing?"
I begin to slowly place each object that I own on like a. Is there like a table in front of us?
There's a table.
I place each of those objects, and I say, "There was a figurine. I just gave it to the lord of the house. Your son has passed away."
You see just tears start like trickling out of her eyes. She's like, her facial expression is staying the same, but just tears on both sides just falling out of her face. And she slowly leans over and touches, like gently, the stuff on the table and almost like retracts her hand, almost as if she's afraid of touching them. Like touching them is going to make it real.
Your son was a good man. I met him, and briefly after we met, we formed a group on Zonari. And while there, we served as protectors and guides through the desert. The inner desert of Zonari is plagued with undead and other dangerous creatures. We were saying was a good person, good man. Always knew how to laugh.
She kind of like smiles and like nods her head. He did.
Would you like to see your son the way he looked before he died?
She looks at you with a quizzical look and says, "What do you mean?"
I have this, and I take out my hat,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it on, and I transform to look like her son.
Like a sob escapes her mouth, and she like quickly puts her both hands over her mouth, and the tears just start flowing freely.
Vesper does his best to smile, so that the last image she sees of her son is
She gets
smiling.
up from the table and walks over, and like one hand's over her mouth, and the other hand she like reaches up and like puts her hand like right next to your face, like almost like she's afraid of touching it, and then she like gently touches it, and then just cries and says, "My son. My son."
Vesper's just gonna stand there and let her look at him, and he'll do his best to smile still.
After she cries for probably like a solid minute or two, she quickly wipes away her tears and walks back to the other side of the table and just nods her head and says, "Thank you. Thank you very much. What is your name?"
Vesper.
"Vesper. Thank you. Thank you for showing me my son again."
I take the hat off and I transform back to look like myself. And I'm sorry to be the bringer of the bad news. It seems Sang didn't talk to me a lot about his past.
Yes.
Seems like he didn't leave on very good terms.
She smiles kind of guiltily, says, "No, he did not. He was supposed to inherit the Mountainsbane family name, but wanted adventure and thrills, and he could never lose that gut of his. So he left, and his father, my husband, Lord Mountainsbane, had his name erased from the family."
I realize we never described what he looks like. He's basically Poe from Mulan.
Yeah, like really, really big.
He's really tall, like sumo, basically,
Yeah.
bald. I'm sorry to bring the bad news, but I wanted someone to have his stuff. I've been carrying it with me. I didn't know where his family was. I'm lucky. We had other business to discuss with your husband, but once I showed him his son, he didn't seem very amicable.
She nods her head and says, yes, if you speak to him, he says he has no son.
I'm going to hold out the key.
Okay. And she just kind of tilts her head quizzically and says, what is this?
At the auction today, your husband bought a key similar to this. And I was interested to see if I could purchase or come to some trade agreement with him. Are you very religious?
I am not. Our family is not religious.
Vesper's going to tell her the story of Acheta, and she is a Chetan, so he's hoping that maybe it connects with her a little bit more.
She looks shocked and is like, Acheta responded. She gave you this key. I thought the gods were gone.
Me too. I'm not super religious either. That was one of the first prayers I made. But when I saw that key, I think, I'm not sure if I need it or not, but.
Was it the same as your key?
Similar, but the head of the key, I think that's what I don't know. The key had a different symbol on the end of it.
What symbol?
That of a heart.
At this, she cocks her head again and says, follow me. And she stands up and she walks out of the room, and the servant is there and says, Madam, what's going on? And she just waves and says, follow me.
Man, if the Lord finds us, we're toast.
And
are we going to get in trouble?
She turns back and smirks kind of playfully and says, only if you get caught. And then keeps walking.
Blank shudders a little bit.
She walks past the Lord's room again on the opposite direction. And after she walks a little bit, she points at the end of the hall. And you see a fancy weapon plaque on the wall with a very ornate rapier. The rapier is made of a silver pinkish metal that is very brilliant. It looks like it's been shined profusely to maintain its splendor. And at the end of the hilt, there's a heart that comes off as the pommel of the hilt of this rapier. And she says, like that?
Is it like that?
Yes, it's the exact same thing, but made of a pinkish silver metal.
Yes, that's the exact same thing, but made of a pinkish silver metal.
She cocks her head. Maybe that has something to do with why he wanted the key.
Do you know what the heart is for?
I simply know this weapon is the family heirloom of the Mountainsbane family. That is all I know. The Mountainsbane family has been around since the age of the gods.
Well, thank you for, I guess, shedding some light on the subject. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to convince your husband to even see me again.
She cocks her head and says, yes, my Mao Meng. Muameng, sorry. This is a name of a listener, actually. One of Dean's friends who said we could use his name. She says, yes, my Muameng. He is a stubborn man.
Well, it was very nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet a friend of my son's.
I think it'd be best if we left now. I might, if I learn more about it, I might come back to try and appeal to your husband again.
She nods her head and says, for you are always welcome here, as long as my husband does not find out. And she smiles.
Vesper just grins at her and does another bow and says,
she does a head nod back.
Thank you, lady. We should be leaving now, I guess.
Safe journeys. And she turns and walks away.
Does the servant escort us out?
Yes, the servant escorts you down the stairs and down the stairs again and then out the front door.
Is this the same servant?
Yes.
I'm going to give him a gold and be like, thanks, man.
He just looks at it and nods his head and says, "You're welcome. Young Master Feng was..."
Sang.
Sang. Young Master Sang was... My name is Feng. Sorry, I get it mixed up. Young Master Sang was, he was a good man. And he gestures you out the door and says, "Please."
We walk away.
Okay. Okay, now let's shake off that, single tear running down
Gosh dang, wow.
Cassiel unclenches his fists, which have been like white knuckling for a lot of the time that he's been in there.
It's fair. It's very, very fair.
Blank's shoulders kind of drop because he's been tense this entire time.
I was debating to bring up the key or sing first.
I
was
see
like,
it.
I was like, okay, I think if I bring up saying, maybe he'll be like appreciative that I'm bringing his son's stuff back, but I did not realize that it would have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
That's super cool, though. That is really, really cool.
Good stuff. All right, well, where does the party go now?
Sorry guys, that was kind of tense.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Let's just get as far away as possible from this whole place right here. I don't want to ever be here again. He just starts walking off in a direction.
Yeah, there are lots of cultures. There are lots of cultures that I've seen. Shays is kind of a mixing pot of different ones, and I've learned to have respect for them. But I can't say that I can respect a parent who so totally despises their child.
Yeah, well, different people value different things. I'm sure he was a good enough father while Sang was still here. He probably felt equally betrayed. And I want to respect that as well. That's why I didn't bring Sang up again, but that key might be important.
Yes, you said you got it from a god.
Yeah. So
that's the first time I've heard.
That's something I gotta talk to you guys about that. Let's find a spot. Maybe by the
Hero's Fountain?
The Hero's Fountain, yeah.
All right, you go down to the Hero's Fountain and y'all pop a squat in one of the benches and you tell the story.
So we've heard the story twice now. So
yeah, you fill in all of the details.
I'm gonna tell something additional.
Okay.
Not only is Acheta seeming to respond, but you guys met Freya?
Yes.
Yes, your dragonoid companion.
Actually, why are we here? I'll just show you. There's someone I'd want you guys to meet.
No.
And let's just go to the temple. It's nearby anyways.
Okay, you go to the temple. It is nearby.
Blank kind of picks his hand out of the water because he's been like swaying it in the fountain, and so he flicks off the water off of his hand.
All right. You go to the temple and you open the door and you see Eliza kneeling down in front of the statue, just like she's always been when you come in. And after a couple seconds, she gets up, brushes off her knees, and turns back and goes,
She shouldn't recognize who I am, actually.
Oh, that's right, because you came in as a gnome. You came back several times, though. Did you always come in as the gnome?
I probably
shape?
would have revealed it to her at some point.
Okay, she's going to go, Vesper, my religious
And I'm going to
buddy.
summon Freya.
She runs over and jumps, and it looks like she's jumping to give you a hug, but Freya jumps off of your shoulders and gives like her a hug in midair. And she starts like spinning and is like, "Oh, Freya."
Traitor. And I'm just I wanted to show my friends here the cubbies.
Oh, of course. She wraps Freya around her shoulders and then turns,
Cassiel.
2 new people? Oh my goodness, what's your name? My name is Eliza. This is Vesper. You probably already knew that. This is the Temple of Acheta, that big statue that's Acheta, and he said he wants me to show you the cubbies. Come this way. And she like grabs both of your hands and starts dragging you. This cubby over here is Brahmin. This cubby over here is Shays, and this cubby over here is this person. And yeah, she's dragging you.
So as she's like dragging around,
She's a strong 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's right.
So as she's
All right.
dragging us around, Cassiel is just like looking around. Everything is super new to him.
Yeah.
He's never been inside of a temple.
Nope. And he says, she turns and looks at you. Oh, wait, Vesper, is there a specific one of the cubbies that you wanted me to show him?
He just
Wait.
like
She
just like tilts her head. at her,
she
like,
tilts her head
"Are
and
you
points at
kidding
you.
me?"
Oh, I should have known. He wants me to show you the Forgotten God. Follow me. He's forgotten because nobody remembers him anymore except for the Dragonborn and me and Vesper now. And now you two know him too, so maybe he's not as forgotten as we thought, but maybe he's just nameless because we don't know his name because his name was scratched out. And as she stops, as she sets you down in front of the statue, the platinum statue of the Forgotten God, which was described earlier, so I'm not going to describe it again.
So I'm going to be straight with all of you. The only thing I know about the gods are their names because they're named after the different islands. So I don't know exactly what you're showing us.
You don't know much more than me, honestly. I've learned a little bit more about Acheta. But look, and I direct their attention to the platinum Dragonborn.
It's a platinum Dragonborn with the Kung Fu Panda Master Shifu mustache and then like a mane going down his back. So he's like an Eastern Dragonborn.
I've seen this person before.
This part,
Have you told Eliza this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
you've talked to this person?
I take out my scroll. You guys have seen me look at this before. I talked to Horace about it a little bit. This Dragonborn, when I was a kid, gave me this scroll.
Have you told Eliza that?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, as
I
like a statue?
I think
like
the first time we tried recording it, I told her.
Okay.
But I don't know about the second.
Yeah. 'cause
But I
of the
definitely would have at this point.
Okay, yeah, because you've come by several times.
Sorry, Blink,
sorry,
did you?
yes. Did it give it to you like the statue of Acheta did? So it was just like a moving statue, or was it like
No, like,
the actual?
it was almost like a vision.
Whoa.
I fell into a hole in the ground.
Well, that's not fun.
And then he was there. And he gave me the scroll and then lifted me to my feet. And when I looked up from reading the scroll, I was out of the hole. There wasn't even a hole. And he was gone. So
Wait,
it was-
how does that work?
I'm going to say it's probably magic.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
I don't understand the gods, but I found this statue here, and shortly before I found this statue actually is when Freya appeared. And I think they're connected in some way. They're definitely connected on the scroll, and he's going to open his scroll and show it to you guys and be like, you guys can't read it,
Whoa.
but you
I
can
can't
see
read
like
this.
a diagram of Freya. Or not like a illustration of Freya in one of like the corners, and like this section appeared, or at least because there's other sections that I can't read on the scroll. I can only read this section, and I point towards the middle, and this section suddenly I was able to read it, and when Freya appeared.
There's an arrow coming off of her picture that points at another picture that says when she reaches level 16, she'll evolve. And then another arrow that says when she reaches level 36, she'll evolve. 32, she'll evolve again.
Wait, but we can't read any of this.
No, you can't. But you.
So what do all these arrows mean?
Just kidding. That's not there.
No,
it's Pokemon, Gordon.
If it's
come
fire
on.
type, it's level 36, just so you know.
Oh, so fire type is level. Are all the starters 36?
I
The
think it
different
changes,
types are different normally.
But fire is 16 and 36.
There are different diagrams though, because Freya does evolve.
She does evolve, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So this part right here, let me just read it for you.
So I don't think we got your name. What's your name again? You were talking
My
really,
name is
really
Eliza.
fast.
I already said that. What's your name?
My name is Blank.
Blank, it's so nice to meet you. Why is your name Blank? Did your parents name you that? Wait, you're made of wood. That's kind of weird. Are you Blank because you don't
Yeah.
remember who you are? Oh, Vesper told me about you a little bit. You must be his robot wood friend. And you
Yeah.
must be the gold crown dude, Cassiel. That's so cool.
How old are you?
I'm 16. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Vesper, go ahead.
Blank
And-
has a bit of a smile for the conversation.
So the scroll says, vigilance, the shadows are here, defeat them. The reflection approaches, stop him. Discipline, magic's blood is corrupt, cleanse it. The wounds of the world bleed, seal them. Loyalty, my soul is restless, comfort it. My family is divided, unite them.
And that line is glowing right now.
This line right here, my family is divided, unite them. It has glowed in this temple and at the Shrine of Acheta in Stagrest. And
So-
this line right here, magic's blood is corrupt, cleanse it. It glowed when we first met Horus.
Whoa. Wait, so you're
And as
saying
you're
that
looking down at the scroll, another line begins to glow. And it is, the reflection approaches, stop him. And the moment you see the line start to glow, the doors get kicked in. And in walk a group of 5 men wearing orange and blue robes with silver masks with a blue handprint on it. And one of them says, "Yeah, there should only be one 16-year-old girl here. That's easy pickings." And then they turn and see the 4 of you.
I step in front of Eliza and I say, Eliza, go in the back.
They all pull out swords. "Well, we still outnumber them, boys. Let's get them." And with that, we are going to end this episode. We'll roll initiative next time.
Ah, darn it.
I was kind of hoping we would get a little farther than that today.
There's just a
'cause
lot of exposition
There's
today.
just a lot
We
that
also
happened.
got all the feels this episode.
I know, that was good stuff. I'll explain it now, but it'll happen later. I've got 6 world events that'll happen. And so I was going to roll my world event table, my D6, to see which one was going to happen. But it didn't end up, we didn't reach the point where I was going to roll on it yet. But
Gotcha.
next episode or the one
I
following.
thought that's what this was.
No.
Because you said you were going to do that.
I know, I was going to say when I do it, though. Oh, don't worry. I'll say when I do
Oh.
it.
Oh, man.
I was like, he hasn't rolled his dice yet.
No, this is just me furthering the plot, like a good DM.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Please go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on whatever media device that you are listening, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever else you can listen to our podcast. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at
Channel Divinity Podcast or CD Pod 23 for Twitter.
the CD. Yeah, the CD Pod is for Twitter.
Message us there and you can give us names and reviews and all that other stuff. We'd love to hear from you.
Exactly. You can also find us at an email, channeldivinitypodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a message on any of those things, and if you include a name in any of those messages or 5-star reviews, we will do our best, or I will do my best to use it. Like, Muamang. Oh my goodness.
Muamang Mountainsbane.
Muamang Mountainsbane. That was another name that I got to use today, and it was
You used another one too, right?
Not. We used one last episode.
Oh,
that was
okay.
Landido.
Oh, yeah.
But we've reached the point where I think I am all out of names. I might have one left that I can use. But so I need more people to turn in. No, actually, that was my last name. I only had the 4. So, people, please, listeners, send me more names. Like that servant. Dean had to call him servant because he didn't have a name. and Madam Mountainsbane.
His name's Fang.
Oh yeah, his name's Fang. That's right. Madam Mountainsbane had no name. She was just the madam. So like, she could get a name at some point. Maybe if more people send me names, or if she gets more prevalent in the story. We've got another little announcement real quick from Dean.
Yeah, if you like any of the music or sound effects, or not any of the music, our theme music at the beginning and end of the podcast are from Gordon's friend Cale Thatcher. You can find a link for his Spotify, I think, definitely on our website, but in the podcast description. But if you like any of the other music or the sound effects, we get those from freesounds.org. Great place to find some free stuff, and there's so many different creators whose stuff we've used. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out, and I can look and see what sound effect was whose. But if you want to see all of those attributions, you can find that on our website. Also, if you have any tips for editing, I am so appreciative of any feedback for the editing of these episodes. I know the music volume has been a little back and forth if it's too loud or too quiet. I'm trying to figure out a good way to keep that consistent. But yeah, let me know any feedback you got.
Exactly. We want to improve as much as we possibly can. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and I was your DM, Trent, and going around the table we have...
David, and I play Cassiel De'Hart.
Dean, and I play Vesper Ravenwing.
I'm Gordon, and I play Blank.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Keep tuning in.